Chapter 17, the Disco Dweeb. You want us to go into beefcake territory? Asked Michael. Yeah, I know that group of guys don't like you much, but what else are your options? Want us to go wandering around uptown screaming out Madboy's name until we get picked up by the bulls instead? You know what? Fuck it. Responded Madboy, lifting up an eyebrow. No, Michael, no. You might want to, but I don't, responded Gabe, knowing that Madboy would actually be crazy enough to try and not just play it off as a joke. Want to what? Madboy now asked with a certain judgmental stare and a mischievous smirk which Sadboy was all too familiar with, coming from him. Gabe now paused and began to stare at Michael while shaking his head, looking at this 30-something adolescent that didn't seem to have matured a bit since going to prison. Michael, you haven't changed one fucking bit, you know that? Actually, I think you might have grown worse, said Gabe bitterly. What is that supposed to mean, Armenian? Don't call me out like that. You ain't all Irish like your dad was, all stereotypically stupid and proud and drunk and violent all the time. You're also a quarter Armenian too, right? Asked Gabe, trying to find a connection. Yeah, German Armenian on my mom's side, so what? But I barely knew jack squat about that part since she left us, me and my dad, when I was a kid. Gabe eyed Michael dishearteningly, realizing what Michael just said might have had something to do with why he'd give him ugly stares sometimes as kids. Got anything else to say? Asked Michael as he raised his brow again. Yeah. You got abandonment issues. Always have, and now I could tell you always will. And the problem is you've never wanted to accept it. You don't know what you want, but you always want the same thing. And that's why you're looking for Madboy and Nikki. But you should really just let it go. They were never good for you, explained Gabe as his eyes shimmered a bit from the truth he felt he was dishing. Yeah? And you've always been a wimp and a major drag, declared Michael, shaking his head as Gabe's face cringed up with anger. A pause happened as the two began eyeing each other very unfriendly like enemies almost. You got anything else, Sigmund Freud? Asked Michael while continuing to shake his head. Okay, don't start that again. Every time you really want to say something, other than that one time you start speaking your mother's tongue, said Michael, staring Sadboy down through his teeth. Never mind, let's just go. Gabe eyed Michael up and down again and felt like he was escorting around a brick wall. But then again, he felt sorry for him because he knew Michael probably better than anyone else. If Michael had any real friends in the world, it would have been Gabe there. He was the only one willing to put up with his confrontational ways, but eventually things got ugly. Even though Michael was never initially a bully, he did like to practice his own form of discipline, for the same reasons as his father did. Gabe, if you don't start sticking up for yourself, if you don't start taking some pride, I'm going to beat some into you, Michael would tell Gabe. Anytime Gabe would get picked on, Michael would rush the guy, beat his face in, then turn around and shake his head at Gabe, as if to say, fucking wimp. And eventually Gabe got fed up with Michael's disapproving stares and began building up his own fire. Not for some bully, but for Michael. Michael would beat up some guy that was picking on Gabe. He'd give him that stare and Gabe would feel like rushing him instead. Michael, if you fucking look at me like that again, I'll bash your brains in, Gabe had once said. But Michael had then sized Gabe up, scrutinizing with his eyes, smirked, and then busted out into laughter. That did something to Sadboy there as Madboy began to grow on him. He began developing a twitch. Sadboy felt his mopey ways turning into Madboy's aggressive ones, and one day he snapped. Hey Gabe, I remember you telling me you wanted to bash my brains in one time. Seems like you really want to do that now. Madboy had taunted. What had happened was, Gabe had tried on a pair of those stupid platform shoes those idiots going to discos wore in the 70s, but Gabe wore it as a joke that went horribly wrong. Even though Gabe had done it as such, everyone wanted to simply pick on him anyways. Michael wasn't the only one tired of Gabe's inabilities to prove himself as a Shamrock, and everyone wanted to get on his ass because of it. When Gabe had walked in, he lost balance and fell. At first, Gabe began laughing at himself, but his mood changed when he realized everyone else wasn't laughing with him. What? I did it as a joke, Gabe had said. Yeah, seems like we got two sisters in our midst. Sassboy had commented, obviously also referring to Tomboy who wasn't there that day. Hey Maddie, your gang is a joke. How we gonna pride ourselves now with shit like this? Sassboy had continued. And as Gabe looked at Michael, he saw him shake his head again and mutter, "Wimp." Gabe then got up, took off those stupid ugly-ass platformers, and threw them at Michael. Michael dodged the two, looked at Gabe, made his taunt, and began laughing hysterically again. After seeing that, Gabe flipped. He rushed at Michael as Michael continued to laugh. And once he got up to him, to Gabe's surprise, Madboy was more than ready, as he popped him in the mouth and threw his ass into a trash can, then kicked the trash can down and started kicking it some more as Sadboy went circling around inside. Sassboy did his usual, making a scene, running around hooting and shouting like an excited pup, while Madboy did the rest. Once Madboy stopped, Gabe came out, and Madboy just crouched over and said, "Just be glad I didn't go all out on you. Fucking disgraceful." And shook his head again as he frowned. In the end, Gabe couldn't hate Michael too much for what he had done, because he knew Michael had some deep down inner conflict clashing within him, as he saw him go back to kissing his crucifix again. Afterwards,